Okay, let's try that again. So this map is first step into first step into fog. It's currently in Global League's rotation, at least it was when just last week. It's an Eagle mirror matchup, and if you know anything about Eagle, Eagle has one of the strongest super CO power there is, and the more units he have, the stronger he gets. So he is the king of stalling, and let's begin. So, game starts out as normal. Both of us go for the neutral base. I go for the airport right away. You will see why in a few turns. It might be tempting to go to the city so you can quickly advance to the center, but there's a very specific reason why I chose to go for that airport instead. Now my opponent, he goes for that property instead. And you'll see why going to the airport is the better choice for this map. At least better in my opinion. Pretty standard opening. And this is why I went for the airport first. I built a transport copter and immediately use it. Now, normally an infantry from this base will take 3 turns to reach this property here, but thanks to this transport copter, my infantry only needs 2 turns. Well, I mean, it is 3 turns, but it would take 4 turns without the transport copter. Being able to load and unload on the same time to give that little extra boost is enough to... it will pay for itself back. Once again, we continue our... he built a recon. Now, recons are nice in the fog, but if you notice around the map, there are several mountains. If I can get an infantry on a mountain, that's pretty much a recon. And this is where I use the transport copter again. Now, normally it would take an infantry 1, 2, 3 turns to get there. Here it will only take 1, 2 turns. So, once again, the transport copter is paying for itself. So, where I went with a transport, he went with a recon. Now he built an artillery. Now, I like artillery because artillery is typically used defensively, and like I said, I do like to stall. Don't really know what to say about artillery. I like artillery myself. But as you could see, I'm already capturing my properties on the right side. I do expect to lose them eventually because typically my 2 bases can easily reinforce the left, but it's much harder for my center base to reinforce the right. So ideally, I would try to hold on to these properties. Meanwhile, I would try to attack his properties on the left side. Once again, using the transport to boost that infantry forward. Instead of taking 3 turns to walk here, or having 2 turns to walk here, I'll spend 2 turns to walk from my right base and use my center base to move left and capture the properties over here. And if we look at the income difference, even though I am... well, let's end his turn first so we can compare. He is slightly ahead, but he has all his safe properties already captured, whereas I'm still about to get several more. Yeah, I am capturing 4 more properties next turn, so that will push me back ahead. And I built a battlecopter. I love battlecopters. He built a tank, I built a battlecopter, and After all, it's not just because I'm Eagle, but I say the best indicator of whoever is winning is the side with more units, because every one of your units is going to be useful, and the more units you have, the more attacks you can do. The more attacks you can do, the more damage you can do, and you can thin out their unit number so that they can't attack you as hard. And I got a little ambitious here. I should have known that by building a transport copter, I would be behind in the ground unit's attack. But I should not have went for the center. He has his recon there, and he probably has more ground units. I thought, oh, I got a battle copter, I can fight them off. But even then, it's a little scary to fight when you spent some money using transport copters instead of. I say it's worth it though. I'm getting a tank of my own because I currently have nothing supporting my strong side. And chances are I'm not going to get this comm tower. It's on his strong side. His 2 bases can easily reinforce the right side, whereas my 2 bases can reinforce the left side. And he built a transport. I don't exactly know why. He could have used it to boost the infantry, then send another one up the next turn. But it's a bit late to be building transports. Then again, transports are useful. You could ferry mechs up there, but I highly doubt we would use mechs. Because, well, for one reason, mechs don't get the attack twice from Eagle's superpower. Look at that, I should not have gone for the center. I should have just focused on the sides. And once again, I'm using the transport copter to boost, maybe thinking, huh, he has no one here, maybe I can go grab for this property. Nah, there's no way I'm getting that. He did build an anti-air, which is why I built tanks. The main reason why I built tanks, well, aside from having the battlecopter tank duo to basically take down enemy tanks for free, I also use tanks to primarily focus down anti-air so my battlecopters can stay uncontested. He base skipped? Did he base skip? You should. Okay, well, unit count is important. You generally don't want to base skip unless it's an absolute necessity, like you see a stealth fighter maybe, and you can only respond with a fighter, so you have to build a fighter to deal with it. But don't base skip if you don't have to. Because I'm building, this is my second battlecopter. My unit count is going to be far greater than his. And he built another transport. I don't know why. There's no way he can reach these properties. Like, he barely boosted his infantry on the left side, and I'm still capturing my properties on this side. I don't see how you would ever take these properties. At least you won't be able to unless you mount an offensive. Boosting it with transport copters at this stage is way too late. The map is pretty small relative to other maps, so I don't agree with that transport copter build. How many recons does he have? Is that his 3rd recon? Recons are great, by the way. You definitely want recons for fog, but then, like I said, we have mountains. Several mountains throughout the map. And while recons are great for a superpower, you can plow down any infantry walls that might block you. I disagree with it. I think 2 recon is plenty for this map. And I don't think I built a recon until way later in the game, because I got these mountains. And there's no way I'm fighting in the center. I saw an artillery, I saw a recon, and I'm betting he would have more units. I did not see the tank nor the anti-air, but like I said, I'm not going to focus on the center. I'm going to focus on the side. I will defend these properties and try to take his properties over here, which he is still in the process of capturing. And another tank. In case I lose my tank, I want to have something else to attack the other anti-air. Well, not the other. If I send my other tank to attack his anti-air, so my battlecopters can't stay uncontested. I did pull off a little sneaky kill at the infantry the last turn, I forgot to mention. I realized his units are probably over here and on his strong side, so he probably doesn't have anything on his weak side where only one base will be supporting it. This base has a much harder time supporting his weak side because of the terrain. Can't cross the ocean tiles, vehicles can't cross the mountains, and when they do try to cross around it, they have to take the long way around and through two forests, which will greatly slow them down. So this is why I'm focusing most of my effort on my strong side, because I can reinforce it faster, and more units equals win. It's very much a quantity over quality. So I killed one infantry, he killed one infantry, and he begins to shift onto his weak side to contest me. I don't agree with this. I think he should have just pressed his attack on my... You want to press your attack on your strong side, and maybe leave a small skeleton crew to defend. Like, I'm building one artillery to defend. I'll just put my artillery in the back to cover my cities. I was thinking of maybe here to protect these two, or maybe over here where the forest will block this side, and I'll just have to infantry wall my other side. He's attacking. Now, I don't agree nor disagree with the attack. You generally want to thin their numbers on the weak side so they can't infantry wall you. And this is my weak side. If he can kill my infantry and weaken and reduce my count, that would be great. Unfortunately, his focus is not on the right side, so perhaps it's not exactly a good move, considering that I am in the mountains and he didn't really gain anything from it. And as a result, I sneakily, well, yeah, just killing off his infantry. I see that he still has nothing now. I assume that because he didn't attack on my right side, and I know he had units in the center, that he would come reinforce his weak side. So, infantry on a mountain. I have all this vision. I see nothing's over here. So the only attack I had to deal with, I counted the tiles. His battlecopter, if he built one, would not be able to reach my battlecopter. So I felt perfectly fine killing off his infantry here. You want to thin his numbers down. Unit count is more important than unit value in many cases. And, just to be annoying, begin to capture his properties. If he wants to defend his property, he'll have to send a unit out, and I could just pick him off and further reduce his numbers. Remember, if you have to choose between losing your units or losing your properties, just lose the properties. If you lose your units, you're losing those properties anyway, so you might as well keep your units. So I am just wiping out his infantry, and here I created a wall block to protect my tank from any possible attack he's coming, and that he's going to send. Now, I'm not too worried about this. I have 2 battlecopters and another tank on the way. But, I want him to waste his turns sending his expensive vehicles to attack my infantry so that my vehicles can kill his vehicles. Like, I already wiped out much of his infantry on his weak side, so he's not going to have that infantry wall advantage. And I'm going to make full use of my unit count advantage. 2 battlecopters. I really want my unit count number to go up. I don't even have a tank to deal with any anti-air on my weak side, but I'm just going along with having 1 artillery there to hold off the entire assault, which probably isn't going to come. But, you know, more units, you win. Just get more units. So I have 30 units to his 22 right now. That's 8 units ahead. Because I've been wiping out. Look at that. He's using his expensive vehicle to shoot at a little infantry, and now my battlecopter can get first strike on it next turn. And he's also exposing more infantry for me to get free kills on later. Now, he didn't know the artillery was here, so it's perfectly honest mistake. Nothing's exactly wrong with it. The thing that is wrong is, well, I wouldn't consider it wrong anyway since it's infantry, but you typically want to attack with your recon first, or maybe like what I did over here, use a transport to place an infantry on a mountain, so that you can see what's coming before you make your attack. Like that over here. Well, he already has a recon nearby, but you want vision first, otherwise you will get into this situation where you send your battlecopter in to see 2 opposing battlecopters ready to shoot you down. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4. He could have attacked my tank from that forest, but I think he was paranoid because I built an infantry wall. I think he was paranoid that there was a unit in here to trap him, which was the entire idea that I had. But my infantry, 1, 2, 3, I couldn't quite make it into this forest. I would have preferred it in the forest, but actually never mind. I needed to make sure he can't wall break this infantry and hit me from a property. Alright, so it was the right call to put it here, even if I didn't have the choice to put it in the forest. Now, I didn't have vision on his artillery here, but I suspected that he did shoot my infantry up here with an artillery, so he probably has one nearby. But I did not know specifically where it was. Well, first things first, get rid of... I think I would have shot that recon as... But still, he has an artillery nearby, so let's attack with the battlecopter. It's free hit. And there I spot his artillery, and I'm like... It's a good thing I used my battlecopter here. Now he can't punish me for attacking. Now, I don't have an anti-air, so the only way I can deal with his air units is with my own. Even I am aware that if he built another battlecopter, he would get first strike and one shot my 8 HP battlecopter. Might as well capitalize on the free infantry kills, like I said earlier. I'm out of range of that artillery with this attack, and I want to get rid of as many units as possible. Now, he doesn't have a lot of infantry in the area, so I'm willing to make as many trades as I can on my strong side. Cause after all, if I'm ahead and we both lose an infantry, then my infantry is less impactful than him losing an infantry. At this point, I'm just using this transport copter to give vision. I highly doubt he will waste a turn attacking it with an anti-air when he can attack my battlecopter instead. Now, I did not know he had an anti-air here, but there's no way he would use it on a transport copter, right? And I like to make sure I keep vision on certain units. Once again, picking off his free infantry, and notice how I send my infantry to heal. in the properties. Well, aside from their defensive bonuses, I'm trying to keep them alive. And if he moves his infantry to kill my 1 HP, I'll just artillery shoot him, or maybe attack something else. He base skipped again. He probably base skipped several more times. But since he built a battlecopter to base skip, I suppose it's fine since you're not really losing unit count. But I have not base skipped once this entire game, and my unit count is way ahead. Kills my battlecopter as expected. Shoots my infantry with his artillery. I mean, there's nothing else he could shoot, but... Okay, there's... Oh, so that's why he wanted to wall break so his anti-air can reach my battlecopter. Not a bad move, but you got no the air defense left. Well, you still got your battlecopters, but they won't mean much when my anti-air arrives and you don't have any anti-air. Now, you could use your battlecopters for air defense. It's nothing extreme, nothing too bad about that. However, battlecopters don't always... You want your battlecopters to support your tanks so that you can wipe out their tanks and their anti-air so that nothing contests no ground units can contest you, and your anti-air is just to make sure that they don't get air superiority. So I'm using infantry to kill that battlecopter. Like, I don't want to spend my expensive units attacking already not out of combat vehicle, essentially out of combat. Like before, knock out their anti-air. He might attack me with his battlecopter, but it's fine because I will get an anti-air nearby. And I was concerned of an attack on the right for more vehicles coming from the right side, so I put this here to protect my tank. But I probably should have used this to get more vision so I can see the artillery. I think he shoots my infantry next round, so I will know there's another artillery, and I will spot it with my transport. Transports are so useful, it's paying for itself several times already. Even if it's not for vision. And for whatever reason... Not sure if I should have went with an attack here. I thought it might have been a free kill. It might as well. He is going to get one infantry back and I'll have to withdraw because I do not want to extend on his strong side. Like, my battlecopter here, it's just gonna chill. I don't need to advance. I'm not going to attack this side. I'm just going to focus all my efforts on his weak side. Even if he's reinforcing it with 2 bases and I'm also reinforcing with 2 bases, it takes longer for him to reach it because of this mountain and the 2 forests. Whereas here, I only have to just go down. Alright, so when I said it was going to chill, I think my idea was I should consider switching, since there's nothing really here to my knowledge, and he seems to be reinforcing this side only, that maybe I should transfer my battlecopters left and put even more pressure on his left side. After all, you want to attack on your strong side and defend on your weak side. I don't need to send my battlecopter south. Alright, he shot his artillery onto my infantry. So now I know there's a second artillery. And judging by his movements, and where I got shot, he probably has it over here. It's possible he has it over here, but I'll just scout it with this infantry, and then use my transport to scout the other one. He's picking off the infantry, but he's not getting any of my vehicles. And with a steady stream of infantry coming from this base, as long as I take out his units, my infantry can start capping his properties. Notice how when there are enemy vehicles nearby, my infantry doesn't bother capturing properties. It's just a waste of a turn. I want to use my infantry to their fullest, whether it's scouting or knocking out their infantry, or walling just to protect my units. So at this stage, I notice we both of us are nearing our superpower. And if you know anything about Eagle, even if you're losing, if you're losing not that bad, he has more properties than me actually. But if you're losing by just a tiny margin, unless you're up against another Eagle, you're not really losing. Because your superpower is so strong that you can turn games around. Like, I've played against max players, I think I will show that next time. I've played against a max who had 25% more income than me over the course of the game, and I still won simply because my superpower was so destructive. And I played in such a way, I'll just show you through example next time. So, I moved down, trying to scout these forests. My infantry got shot here, so the only other place is this forest where that artillery is. My battlecopter didn't really have many targets, so either this infantry or this infantry could be it, but I think I'd rather wall break this one so my vehicles can attack from here. Now this move had a double purpose: kill this infantry, scout this artillery. Like I said, all your units are useful. You typically don't want to join them so that you can heal them up or use them later. And this is what I mean. Use this, finish off weakened artillery. My battlecopter comes in, kills his battlecopter. Now, when you use anti-air, you generally don't want to reveal it because you don't want to lose your anti-air until after it gets a battlecopter. You typically want to stay safe and hide it until your battlecopter. But I'm going for my superpower. I'm trying to charge it. I noticed early on that my battlecopter can hit his battlecopter and that will give me a lot of charge. So I'm pretty much gambling on getting charge, and I want to do as much damage as possible. So we're very close, but I don't quite have enough charge yet. So what do I do to make sure I get charge? Well, after that, I still don't have enough charge. But here's what you can really do. I noticed using the replay that nothing walked into this forest in the previous turn. Nothing even passed through it, so I know it's empty. I sent my tank through it and attacked the battlecopter to get that final last bit of charge. I still have some infantry that could shoot at his infantry or maybe take a shot at his recon or some more if that wasn't enough. But don't be afraid to sacrifice your tanks just if your power is worth it. Now I got a little ballsy because I'm like, I have my super, I can attack against next turn. Probably not the best idea, but I'm winning at this so far at this point that I don't think it will matter. And why am I moving my infantry? I want to free my bases so I can build recon tank, and another tank. Activate my superpower so I can get them moving and still have enough money to get 3 more infantry. I want my unit count to be as high as possible. So there I go. Just getting to move again. Finish off his battlecopter. Now he has nothing. I did not know if he has anything here. However, I knew his bases and his airport would not reach this tile in time, especially if he's focusing his effort mostly on the left side anyway. Finish off his artillery, spots the mech, attack the mech, just getting some free shots. Kill his battlecopter. Now, he has nothing left really. I knew from the start, I knew from like how many battlecopters I seen him build, how many using the kill death ratio of your own side, which you can see. I calculated he would have at most 15 units left in this turn, assuming he built 2 battlecopters on his previous turn. But by even then, none of his vehicles on the base would come in handy. Well, he could use his super, but at this point his army is crippled. There's nothing he can do. And just to weaken the mech even more, because I realized, wait, his mech can't hit my artillery. So I might as well soften it up for it. Yeah, the artillery here probably wasn't a good idea. But YOLO, I'm winning. Then, just resigns. And as a matter of fact, he did build battlecopters, which can shoot nothing on his first turn. The tank here can't reach my anti-air. If he uses his superpower, he will only get only 3 units, well, maybe 4, will actually benefit from it. Oh yeah, I did build recons, only because it's cheap enough for me to afford while also getting infantry after they move on their first turn. Still, you could see he still has more properties than me, and he didn't even capture his property. This is supposed to be his over here, but he went to attack me instead of capture. Lose your properties rather than your units. In this case, he really wanted to defend these properties. And notice how I was not able to capture these properties nor the center properties throughout the whole game. That was not my intention. My intention was to pressure them so he commits his forces and then I wipe them out and win. So, yeah. If you have to choose between losing land or losing your units, just lose the land. You can recapture it. I just realized I have games going on in the background. I guess I could show some of my ongoing Global League games. Let's see. Alright. Give me a moment while I refresh this page. Refreshing. Okay. So this is an ongoing Global League game. Nothing much happens right here. We're just still in our opening phases. But before the battle even begins, there's a lot you need to take into consideration. For example, what COs to pick, for example. Now, this is a tier 3 matchup, and I noticed that the comm towers are quite hard to reach. The comm towers, you need to capture an airport first, which is, well, not very accessible. Not very accessible. They are accessible. I mean, what I mean is that they will take a long time to reach. And even then, after you reach your airports, it will take a long time to reach either comm towers. So I thought, maybe I can play Andy. Because no comm towers means my units can survive hits, and if they survive, they will come back when I get my super. As a matter of fact, my opponent picked Rachel, which Andy kind of counters Rachel. Like, Rachel has little control over where the missiles land, and I could just create an infantry blob to absorb 2 of the shots, and then just hyper upgrade and repair them all. So, even before the game begins, the match can be decided based on your COs that you pick. Well, let's pass the baton on to my opponent. It's now their turn. Okay, what next? I suppose I can show you that max game I was talking about earlier. Just give me a moment while I pull it up. Ah, yes, here it is. Alright, that max game is right here. Well, I say max game, but I'm still Eagle, I'm just playing against a max. So I did base skip a few times, but you will rarely see me do it, and there's a very justifiable reason of why I base skip. So why don't we take a look at this game? But before we actually check, let's look at the stats. If you notice, look at the funds we generated. My opponent generated 25% more funds over the course of this game, but it doesn't matter because Eagle superpower is just so strong. If you can survive long enough for that, it is very strong. First things first, typical opening. I go for this property first because, well, I want to advance onto the right side and capture this stuff quickly. There isn't much properties in the center, and even if there are more, Max will probably push me out anyway, so I will prioritize the side properties, and you will see me prioritize the side over the center pretty much the whole game, because you cannot take on Max head on. The trick to fighting Max is you don't. You just run away and fight somewhere else where he's weaker. And you will see what I mean here. This game also, now I got a little ambitious. I wanted this center property pretty quickly because I thought if I'm taking this corner, he's probably gonna get that corner anyway. So I might as well try to take one in, then run away and just make a mad dash to the left side to get away from his tanks when they arrive. And he's choosing to skip some cities. I don't know why, because there's no way I'm contesting him in the center anyway. I am not going to fight for these properties in the center. I know he will beat me. So I don't know why he would skip these properties. Those are some very important income early on. As for me, I go for the nearest. I went for the airport because I'm Eagle and I want your units as quickly as possible. And as I said before, more units, you win. There's only 2 bases, so this airport is even more valuable as it will account for a 50% increase in unit production if I build on it every turn. I don't do that, but imagine getting 50% more units. Sounds pretty strong, right? Oops. Okay, so I go for that airport, and I got a little. I don't want to say it's ambitious, but Eagle against Max, a center property is pretty ambitious. There's no way I will be able to fight him. He still hasn't built a tank, but that's probably because he skipped its early properties. Now, here he's going for this property. Maybe he's concerned that I would walk up and take it, but honestly, I would actually. Wait, or it could be a bait. No, that's actually a smart play. He can choose to go for this property if I'm not going for it, or he could choose to go up to the airport if I am, or maybe he might want to fight me, I don't know. But it opens up his options, so this is actually a good move. Good placement on his infantry. And a tank. So now I know He's probably going to send it on this side. Oops, click back instead of forward. And I capture my airport. Again, this is a little ambitious. 2 infantry in range to attack mine. He did not capture the comm tower yet, so it should be impossible for his infantry to kill off my infantry. But still not a good trade. Now I pretended to threaten him here. If he went for it, I would have just backed off right away because I'm not fighting Max. His tank is nearby. He's going to push me out anyway. And this is what surprised me. I thought he was just leaving his options open, and I thought that again, even though I should have known what happened. But turns out he's going for these properties. I don't know why. He's going to get them anyway. I don't want to contest his tank. But you will see that despite all this property skipping, he still gets more income than me over the course of the game. And this is why you capture your close property, because now you don't want to base skip. I rather get a recon in an infantry because max recons are still pretty powerful. They could wipe out infantry pretty easily. Well, since he left this property open, I thought might as well try to take it. And I should have known that attempt was futile. Now, his tank was probably going to the center to push me off, but I pulled back, so chances are he will now send it to the left side because there's no target in the center for him. Against Max, the way to fight Max is you don't. You just pull back and fight somewhere else. Yeah, Max is pretty strong. His day-to-day is strong, his power is strong, but his superpower is nowhere near as strong as Eagle's. So similar to the previous game, stall for your power. Well, the previous game, my opponent is also Eagle, but you know how powerful the super is. I don't need to explain why you need to stall against a Max. And I built a tank of my own. I realized if he uses his normal power, and if he captures that, he base skipped again. Don't base skip. Capture your properties so you don't have to base skip. But a comm tower with a max normal power, you can one-shot infantry on planes, I believe. If you don't know, you can always check the move calculator. Power, tower, 101% minimum damage. He will one-shot infantry on planes, so I thought I need a tank to at least slow him down. I don't expect to win, I just need to slow him down. In addition, I also need tanks to deal with his anti-air. If I can focus down his anti-air, then my battlecopters, it doesn't matter how much firepower max tanks get, they won't do much against my battlecopters. And artillery is in a pretty good spot. It protects this city, and if I pull my infantry back, he can only attack my infantry from one direction, meaning that it's not going to be wall broken. But I got a little greedy. I thought maybe I can protect my infantry capturing this city, but then I have nothing to protect against the wall, so I couldn't actually move up there anyway. And I decided to use my battlecopter to the fullest. Most of Mac's forces is on the left, so like I said, don't fight him head on, fight somewhere else where he's weaker. Now, it might not be a good move to have my forces so split up, because he can focus on one side, then turn his army around to fight the other side. But this map is actually a little terrain heavy, if you notice. There's lots of mountains and forests blocking movement. There's pipes and rivers here. So Max isn't exactly that strong on this map. Still, it's scary to fight against Max as Eagle because you know he will come at you very quickly. Oh, and like I said, tank for his anti-air, tank to slow down his advance on the left side. You just want to stall and stall until you get your super. And I left my artillery from this force. Now he got this property. But it's fine. I'm Eagle. It doesn't matter about properties, I just need my super. And another battlecopter. He has one anti-air, I could send one to the right, send one to the left. Just a fight where he's not. So this was actually an accident on my part. His tank can reach my artillery, but it's actually a good accident. Uh, my opponent applauded me. He thought I played very well with this turn here. But it was really just a total accident. He moved his tank into attack, but if you notice the terrain around him, that tank's not leaving. I got so much infantry that it's trapped. I could just build a mech, move my artillery down, or move this tank left, and that tank is dead. On the bright side, since he is base skipping a few times, I do have more units, so trading units will be in my favor. Yeah, with this tank, I'm able to ward his anti-air away, and yeah, this is why I build a tank. The main reason you build tanks as Eagle is not necessary to fight on land. It is more to take on his anti-air. You let your battlecopters handle everything else. Your battlecopters on their battlecopters, your battlecopters on their tanks, maybe an anti-air to deal with any fighters. Well, you could use it to, of course you use it against battlecopters, but in case of a fighter, you want one anti-air nearby just to be there for that situation. At least one. So, trap is, there's no way he's getting that out. I got an artillery, a mech, and a tank ready to finish him off. And I go in for this one. I move my infantry to block it, and this is where I probably made a mistake. I got greedy. I went for the property cap. I should have killed this infantry, and then used this other infantry to kill his 2 HP infantry to make it impossible for him to wall break. His tank would do... Oh, I just realized you probably didn't see the tank overpower, but... No, his tank can't even reach it, can it? No. But his infantry that can reach my infantry would never be able to wall break mine. Now, an 8 HP infantry can have as low as 7.1% HP, but his highest infantry damage is 63%, so I should have killed his weaker infantry nearby as to not allow him to wall break. Unfortunately, I got greedy, and his 2 HP infantry is alive. So that was a mistake on my end. I thought I got a free tank. It was not free, but it could have been, and that's the sad part about it. He sacrificed his 2 HP infantry, and the 7 HP infantry can have anywhere between 61% to 70%. He does a maximum of 63% damage and gets it, allowing him to kill a battlecopter. This was a little sad, but it was a mistake entirely on my end because I got greedy and I wanted the property when I don't deserve it. So, if I were him, I actually think it was better to kill off my infantry because, like I say before, unit count is more important than unit value. And, okay, next turn. I considered trying to trap his battlecopter, but there's no way I can actually do it. That being said, I will knock out his tank and just create a wall here with my infantry. Whatever it does to slow him down. I also built an anti-air to deter his battlecopter even further. Just slow max down, get your superpower. And I even abandoned capturing the city just to get more infantry. I should have killed his infantry on the previous turn. I should have. And now his normal power is up. He could use it to get that movement speed to bust my tank. So what I did was I wall block with my battlecopters. I sent my battlecopters against its anti-air just because I wanted to get rid of it and to protect my tank. Now, even with his normal power, his +1 movement speed will not reach my battlecopter, that's for sure. So his tank won't be able to reach my tank. So I pretty much get that anti-air at only the cost of 4 HP of my battlecopter. Notice how I completely abandoned the center properties. I am not going to fight Max in the open where he has the advantage. I'm going to fight where there's heavy terrain with the woods, the pipes, the rivers, the mountains. I will not fight in the shoals and the plains in the center. And you can see he has way more properties than me, but it doesn't matter. So here, I disagree with this battlecopter move. If I were him, I would target this infantry instead, even though it can heal, and you will see why in the next turn. He built another anti-air because, battlecopter, the terrain is heavy. My battlecopters can slide left and right very easily. It can slip through this river if it wanted to. Not that it would, but if it wanted to. So I see him shifting his focus now on the right side because that seems to be the part where I'm attacking. So if he's shifting his tanks right, pull back on the right, attack on the left. You don't want to fight Max where he is. And because he moved his tank right, now's the time to attack on the left. I surrounded his battlecopter because I saw that I'm able to, and just moved my anti-air in. Again, more units equals win. This is why this is why infantry is so important. This is why you do not base skip. You want your infantry to protect your more expensive units and to do fun stuff like this. Yep, Max is coming in on the right, pull back. I thought this infantry is not getting out of there, might as well try to get the kill, and it gets the kill. So here I am, I'm also trying to pull out of this corner. Probably should have went this way now that I think about it. Probably should have went down. And medium tank. He has 4 tanks, 2 anti-air. I'm not contesting him head-on with equal units. I need to tech up. Because he can't deal with my medium tank without teching up himself. And moving heavier, slower units all the way from his HQ to my HQ, gonna take time. And time is something I have plenty of, and he does not have a lot of. So yeah, he goes again, picking off my units on the retreat. I'm not sure if I went for that tank. We will see. But he's getting pretty close to my HQ. Don't fight Max. You don't want to fight him head on. And he builds a Neo tank to deal with my medium tank. Well, for one, I get rid of that. And I probably, I thought, since his units are still on the right side, maybe I could try to steal some properties on the top left corner. That is a lot. And like before, I continue pulling back my units because I'm not fighting Max where he's strong. And I was so paranoid of his I was paranoid of his super. He's very close to his superpower. So he could wall break with his superpower. Let's bring up a damage calculator. His tank can wall break my tank on the forest. That is how, with a comp tower. That is how powerful Max is. So if he wall breaks my infantry, he can move his anti-air in and kill my battlecopters. So my battlecopters go all the way to the back, so even with a super, his movement is not enough to reach my battlecopters. And I built more battlecopters because more units. And also, he doesn't have the air defense for it. I started building mechs. My primary reason is I'm concerned his tanks might try to go for this base. I don't exactly know why I would think that, but better safe than sorry, I suppose. And Max continues to attack. He has his super nearby, so maybe he's... And he could also use his normal power for 2 turns. That's also not a bad strat. And I see lots of tanks lining up. His Neo tank with a super can reach my medium tank. Now, my medium tank is on an HQ, but this is a max we're talking about. A max of a super on a Neo tank could still do a lot of damage to a medium tank, even if the medium tank is on the HQ. So, it is scary. Fighting against Max is scary, especially when he has his powers ready. So what I did was, I decided, I got an airport nearby. I could just keep pumping out air units, but he only has 2 anti-airs, and if I focus down his anti-air will move forward to kill a battlecopter. Well, I would think so anyway. So I just have to move my medium tank, kill off that anti-air, build more battlecopters, and my battlecopters will deal with any tanks and neo tanks he'll send. And like I said, I'm going for the top left properties because don't fight him where he's at, fight him where he's not. You can't fight Max head on. Notice how I'm still keeping these battlecopters in the back. I am still afraid of his, like he could wall break this infantry and reach my battlecopter if it was here or here. So I'm keeping it all the way back. And I built more mechs. I don't think these mechs end up doing much, but my unit count is high enough, and my battlecopters did enough work that he's not breaking through. And this is where it got a little surprising. I wondered, he looked like he was going to attack my HQ, but instead shifted left. I don't necessarily disagree with it. He probably realized my tank and anti-air cannot escape because they're too far gone. But he is committing a little too much of everywhere, really. When you're outnumbered, you typically don't want to split your forces even thinner. Yeah, as I said, my plan goes into effect. I try to just knock out his infantry, and I don't want his Neo tank to super hit my medium tank, which is now in a forest. If we check how much damage he'll do, he will one-shot my medium tank if I let him hit me with a super. So I did what I would do. Walling. Protect my units by placing friendly units in the way. On second thought, even if he does break he could still hit my medium tank, but even if he does hit that, I can surround it with my... This might have been a mistake on my part. His anti-air is still alive. I guess I still have a tank to deal with that, but then that will give me my superpower, so his anti-air would be dead when I move my tank, then attack it, and his Neo tank would also be dead because I will have 3 or 4 copters attacking him twice. So I'm just huddling my units in the corner up here. They're like, oh no, we're trapped. Still, it buys me more time. As long as he's spending time attacking me up here, he is too. He won't be able to beat me if he's too busy fighting somewhere else. So, day 16. I attack because I want to get rid of his anti-air. He has no. I don't know why he left his anti-air there. Oh no, no, he went to shoot a battlecopter, and that's why it's there. Okay. And this is why battlecopters are amazing, because I use an airport for that, whereas he used a base for his anti-air. There's that 50% extra unit. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just... Maybe I thought his tank will come in and interrupt. Maybe I could at least fight what I can, just weaken him as much as possible with my forces up there. And prepare to move my mech spam up to protect this property. I'm probably going to lose that one anyway, but I'm going to try to protect this one. And I think I know why he focused so much on the top corner. He builds a stealth after he wipes out my anti-air. And I was like, okay, I need a fighter. It's the only way I can respond to a stealth. He probably realized I don't have the income to really support a fighter. But I do, because I saved up money from the last round. And this is one of the rare examples, doing as much work I can here. This is one of the rare examples I would base skip. I need to respond to that stealth with a fighter. It's the only way to fight it. And might as well pick off free infantry because more unit count. His forces seem pretty weak on the right side, so since he's not there, don't fight Max where he is, fight where he isn't. And I also centralize my battlecopters to respond to either paths. If he's going to start building anti-air on the right side, I should probably start sending it left. So I skipped both my bases so I can afford the fighter. Thinking on it now, I could have joined this tank and then built 2 infantry, but I wanted to keep that tank. He moved his... And this is the part where I got an idea. I have my super. My fighter can actually reach the stealth with my superpower. So I was like, alright, this is the turn where next turn, I will go for that stealth, and that will win the game. So, he still couldn't use his power this whole time because there was no targets. I just kept retreating to my base. My battlecopters would... I'm using battlecopters to wall his units off because he doesn't have the air defense. And this is why unit count is important. As much as I talked about how he base skipped, I'm base skipping only because I need to respond. And now, this is a turn. I move in, attack. He did 3 HP of damage to my battlecopter with his Neo tank. So I just realized that I had follower only chat enabled. Whoops. Oh well. Live and you learn. Move in, fighter moves in, and I prepare to wall break. Then this is why Eagle, if you stall enough as Eagle, you will eventually win, because the lightning strike is so powerful. I move my artillery here to get a shot on the... Here I base skipped again. I can't afford anything else this turn, but... Now I move in. Wall break his tanks. Get rid of his air defenses because, just get rid of it. Let my air units have free reign. And I destroyed the stealth fighter. And this is why I'm base skipping again. I want to finish off that Neo tank. My battlecopter, who was badly injured, almost running out of ammo. Still useful. This is why battlecopters are so strong. And from here on out, there's nothing I can really do with my units on the right side. I guess they will deter my opponent from stopping me from capturing his properties. And that's game. So that's how you fight against Max. You don't, you fight somewhere else and just stall until you get your power. Alright, I think that's enough for now. I still have some Global League games to play, and when I finish playing them, I guess I will show that next. Alright, see you next time.